All right. We're back with another edition of the ATL Three Style Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Leo G. Man, that beat still hit hard, Derrico, after a long time of us doing this, man. Beats by Miyagi, man. That beat still hit hard, man, for the ATL Three Style Podcast, man. My co-host joining me tonight, Derrico, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Leo G? And the beat definitely drops when it drops. And I'm just going to tell you, we got a gift in that beat. I can tell you that. For sure.
Absolutely. Shout out to my boy Miyagi, man, for putting it down for us, man. We've been blessed with it. We've been doing it for a while now, man. Listen, we back with it. Another edition. Here it is. We're not live today, man, but we're gonna still give y'all some ATL sports perspectives, just talking sports in general. A lot to talk about, man. A lot to get into. You would think at this time of the season we would have something else to talk about, but that's neither here nor there. So now we're gonna catch up on some Falcons talk, catch up on a little Atlanta Hawks talk as well. But before we get into it, Derek Cole, let's do what we always do, man. Let's give a shout out to our brother out there on the east side, man, doing what he do, man.
What's up, our brother Phil Johnson with the Eastland Woodwork Company. Y'all know what it is. Y'all see the QR code. We continue to ask y'all to support this brother, black-owned business. And we like to support our own. So shout out to Phil Johnson over there and Eastland Woodwork doing his thing. And I can't wait for the new project. It just ain't popped up in my head yet, but it's coming.
Man, listen, yeah, man, he's doing some big things, man. So shout out to Eastland's Woodworking. Let me tell you something, people. He does it all, man. So, hit him up. You can check out his Etsy page if you scan the QR code. But look, I just got some work done. So if you're Greek, if you're Divine Nine, he does that type of work as well. I just got some gifts for some people that's Divine Nine, man. So I'm pretty sure they enjoy them. I'll feature them hopefully on the next podcast. I don't want to give them away because I hadn't got them to them yet, Derrico. So on the next podcast, I'll put some pictures up, man, and you can see some of the work that he has done, man, with some of the things over there. Derrico, man, a lot has transpired. But before we get into the meat of the show, man, NFL playoffs, also college football semifinals just passed as well since the last podcast, man. So really quickly, we'll talk a little bit about the college football semifinals, man, because the stage is set for the national championship going down next Monday down in Miami. Derrico, you want to give a little perspective on the two teams that are match up? Is going to be Indiana, those Hoosiers from Indiana against them Canes, baby. They're going to actually be playing at home, them Canes down there at Hard Rock in Miami on next Monday night.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say besides I'm still going to ride with Indiana until the tires fall off. It's a good thing, Cinderella story for y'all thinking that that thing is back, but it's only back when you can continue to do it. At least we know that Indiana has been doing this for 2 years straight. So fans, if y'all want to solidify that Miami Hurricanes are back, then y'all going to have to handle your business on Monday night, which I do not think that y'all are. Not just because I don't like your team. I just feel like Indiana is better coached and has better players, and they play better as a squad.
Hey, listen, man, I'm going to take the opposite end on that, Derrico, man. I've been watching this Miami squad here down the stretch, not earlier on in the season, but down the stretch. To me, they've proven themselves as having probably the best defense in college football, man. They've been playing kind of lights out. Mario Cristobal, man, has kind of been pushing them boys. And, of course, Mr. Too Hype on the sideline over there, Michael Irvin, he's been pumping up the boys, man, for the last couple of games here that they've been playing, man. I don't want to speculate or talk about what Mr. Irvin's over there doing, man. But listen, Carson Beck, who would have thunk it that he'd be in the national championship, man, leaving Georgia down in Miami now, man. He's played he hadn't played spectacular football, obviously, but he's played solid, and he's helped them down the stretch. Obviously, man, big-time win over Ole Miss as they go into this game to play down at Hard Rock, man. I'm taking the Canes, bro. I mean, I'm not going to say the U is back, but I'm taking the Canes in this one. Indiana is a very, very tough team to play. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback up there in Indiana. But I just see this tough Miami defense, man. They've given everybody they've played in the playoffs fits. And I think the Canes take this one, man. I don't want to predict the score right now, but I'm going to roll with them.
Well, you roll with them, my guy. I'm just going to take the team that's going to be less distracted because they're not at home. And like I said, I just feel like Cignetti is a better coach and will have his team better prepared. And like I said, Miami being at home, if this almost similar to the old squads of Miami in the past, they're going to find a way to mess it up.
All right, man. We'll be back next week. We'll be back next week to talk about the national championship, man, and how it all plays out. Also, Wild Card Weekend just happened this past weekend, Derrico. We'll talk a little bit about that before we get off into the media show as well. Obviously, there were several games that took place, man. We're not going to get into all of them, obviously. One of the games I do want to get, shout out to the LA Rams for putting the NFC South out their misery, baby. NFC South is officially gone, even though I don't think we deserve to be there in the first place. We should have did like Notre Dame and just forfeited our playoff slot and gave it to a better team. LA go up there and take business up there in Charlotte, man, and a couple of other notable games. And I don't know if Derrico, you want to talk about the same games, man, but one other notable game I wanted to talk about was last night, man. I think Aaron Rodgers still having nightmares about them Texas boys, man, because they was all over the place, man. Shout out to Houston, Texas defense, man. And I think they scored 2 defensive TDs, man. That boy Will Anderson, man, getting after it, man. That Texas, I just talked about the Canes defense, man. The way this Texas defense playing, man, they might have the best defense in the NFL. No shade to any other teams that are in the playoffs right now, man, like the Seahawks and the Patriots. But the Texans, they coming.
I think they are number 1 or number 2 defense in the league, so that's not a shade. I mean, they've been like that consistently all year long. And like you said, when somebody asked me who I thought was going to win the game, it was not even a second thought when I came out and said Texans. And the reason why I said the Texans is because of their defense, period, hands down. That's the only reason I said that they were going to win and wasn't going to be close, because I knew old boy Rodgers was not going to be able to get away from that pressure.
Man, listen, man, not to get too far off into the weeds as well, man. I was looking, and I think I texted you all on last night. Man, dude, I don't know, the Texans offensive line. I mean, jump over to the offense for just a bit, man. I don't think I've seen an offensive line this big in quite some time. Obviously, I haven't watched a lot of Houston Texas football this year. Bro, they got some giants on that offensive line. I don't know if that's by design or not. I think Trent Brown, if I'm not mistaken, like 6'8", 380. Good God, man, it's like a Coke machine, dude. So, like, you know, those boys, they moving earth. They ain't say moving people. They moving earth.
Well, they did say everything's supposed to be bigger in Texas, so I guess they took that literally for the offensive line. But that's neither here nor there, because we'll get into the other things about something. We continue to talk about them boys from Texas.
Absolutely, man. Another notable game here, man. Chicago comes back and beats the division rival Packers up there over the weekend. And also we had the Chargers traveling over cross country to take on the Pats. The Pats ended up taking them out as well. All right, Derrico, man. Look, let's get into the meat of this show, man. Let's talk about it, man. Hold on. What's up?
We got to at least talk about the comeback for the Bears. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got people that are Chicago Bears fans, so I will be remiss if I don't at least mention the comeback win from the Bears. I think they were down 2-1-3 in the second half. They came back and put them hands on Green Bay Packers, which I'm glad they did, because I really didn't want to see the Green Bay Packers in there, because hopefully I would have said they'd have fired the coach, but that would have been another story. But shout out to the Bears for going out and now hosting the next division round game.
Yeah, man, like I said, man, I don't like talking too much about comebacks, man. I don't like reliving old, we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, yeah, shout out to the Bears, man, for doing their thing, man. And obviously, it's a lot of moving pieces when we start talking about coaches here in the NFL, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But before we do talk about the Falcons and the NFL a little more down the road, we kind of talked about it, hinted to it on last podcast that we needed to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. There's some big news over there with the Atlanta Hawks. Is that right, Derrico?
Yeah, some big news, and, there's some mixed feelings about what happened over there in the Hawks organization. So I'm just going to put it out there. So they traded our star guard to the Washington Wizards, of all people, the Washington Wizards, who we, duke back and forth as far as which player we was going to pick 2 years ago with the number 1 draft pick, and it was against them and the Wizards. So what I'm going to say about this is, hey, it is what it is, but what I want to know, where do we go from here? And I'm going to ask you about this conversation that we supposedly got for our star player.
Man, listen, man, end of an era here in Atlanta, man. Obviously, like you just said, Trae Young is gone. He's now with the Washington Wizards. Obviously, he had to sign off on the trade, man. You know what I'm saying? He said that he wanted to go there. He was cool with that. It was announced in one of the games they were playing last week, man. Nothing but love for Trae. I know it was kind of a mixed bag of emotions here. And when I talked to several fans in Atlanta, a lot of people were saying that it was time. And I was one of those people that said, you know what, it was time. Trae had done all he could here, man. Eastern Conference. I mean, who knows? If he wouldn't have stepped on that ref's foot in the Eastern Conference Finals and missed those couple of games, we might be having a different conversation right now. But it is what it is, man.
You say he stepped on the ref foot, or
the ref stepped on his foot? I can't recall, but you know, I'm in my old age, man. Yeah, somebody's foot got stepped on and Trae.
The ref was in the way. That's what it was.
It is. The ref was in the way.
That's what that was.
And like I said, had Trae not gotten hurt, man, and we finished out the Eastern Conference Finals and we made it to the finals, who knows if this would be a different conversation. Obviously, Derek Cole, that did not happen. Like I said, for some, this is bittersweet. For some, it was. For some people, Derek Cole, I heard good riddance. I don't know how you feel about it completely. I had no ill will toward Trae, man. Trae did his thing, man. Let me tell you something, man. When you talk, a lot of times we talk about, you know, what's good for a team or what's good for a certain situation. I felt like at the time, Trae coming to this organization, it breathed some life into this organization because it had been a while since we had a caliber of player like Trae. And he did breathe some life into this franchise, man. And he fit like a glove as far as the culture is concerned. And he braced Atlanta for the time that he was here, man. So I have no ill will towards him. But obviously, yes, toward the end, injuries and a lot of the chemistry was a little off. And I think it was just time to move on from Trae, man. So I don't know how you feel. I know, you know, he was a franchise player.
I feel absolutely different because the biggest problem I had with the whole situation is how some of the disrespectful fans were. Like they didn't appreciate that man as he embraced this city. A lot of people come here and don't give a flip about Atlanta. But you can't say that about Trae Young. Trae Young did everything that he possibly could. He went out there choosing players. He went out there choosing coaches. He went out there choosing GMs. He went out there choosing the owner. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say this to all y'all salty fans that was applauding and celebrating in the street, shooting fireworks on New Year's Day that Trae Young was getting traded or about to get traded. I want you to listen to me closely. Be careful what you wish for, because if you think CJ McCollum and that crispy dude is going to be the answer, you got a whole nother problem. Okay, then you'll say, okay, well, Derek Cole, they freed up a lot of money next year since Trae gone. Okay, what have they done with the money that they had before?
And that's my point, Derek Cole.
The owner said, yeah, the owner said that he was going to do XYZ, and the owner ain't been doing what he said with XYZ. So it sounds like to me is that the owner is trying to save some money, because if he don't spend that money and go up in the luxury cap and go get another superstar, you're going to have your answer. And don't say we got Jalen Johnson. Going to take more than Jalen Johnson. And I'm going to digress on the Hawks so we can move on to the Falcons.
We'll talk about them in just a second, man. I want to talk a couple of more things about the Hawks until we move on into the Falcons. So listen, Derek Cole. Obviously, yes, money freed up, expiring contracts. We know how the NBA kind of rolls, man. Bringing in CJ McCollum and Chris Pitt here. We got compensation for Trae, obviously, in the Wizards trade. I mean, CJ McCollum is a player that's long in the tooth. Obviously, we know that, you know, he's on the other side of 30, but he's a solid player that's going to get you probably anywhere from about, 20, 25 points a night. You know what I'm saying? He's a decent player. I remember when he got picked up there in Portland. He was up there with obviously another great point guard up there in Damian Lillard. And CRISPR, obviously, it gives you another perimeter shooter. Obviously, they have to kind of learn the chemistry and what they're trying to do here with the Hawks. So a couple of things I want to talk about, and I'm going to get your opinion on it, Derek Cole. First thing to talk about is long-term move. Like you just said and alluded to, man, been a lifetime Hawks fan myself, and just want to try to get out of this whole, mid or mediocre stage that the Hawks have been in. It seems like purgatory forever. Yes, this frees up money. Yes, we got some expiring contracts. Yes, we can literally call our shot when it comes to moving into free agency and obviously some of the draft capital that we have. but will they do it? Will they do it? Will they pull the trigger, bring in somebody into the organization with the young talent that we have to actually make a push and take us from above like this play-in round team that we've been for the last, decade? Or can we ascend to being one of these powerhouse teams in the Eastern Conference? And also, Derek Cole,
was that a question for me to answer?
Well, I mean, I think I know what.
Are you just putting out a blanket statement of how you feel about what's been happening? Because if it was a question,
so I guess the question the question that's tied into that, and I want to get your opinion on something else. The question tied into that is, do you feel as an organization that the Hawks are going to be able to make good on this? Like I said, like you just said, they moved a lot of things to have a lot of money and they have a lot of draft capital that we know of. Are we going to be able to put, is the brain trust of this organization going to be able to put this team in position to be a bona fide top tier team in the Eastern Conference?
No.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, no, I have absolutely no faith in this organization moving the needle, because if reports are correct, if you're talking about going out again, broke down Anthony Davis, AD, and bringing him into this organization, you are a joke of a franchise. You already brought Porzingis third of a year season playing ass over here, knowing that he wasn't going to be healthy, knowing that he wasn't going to be available to play. So, yes, that's what I'm saying. No, they will not do it. They cannot do it. They're unwilling to do it, and they don't have the competency to do it.
Speaking right to him. Speak right to him, man. Listen, the Kristaps Porzingis was another expiring contract as well. To your I'm sorry. So, Anthony Davis, we talk about this. Yeah, the Hawks obviously been looking for a five for a long time, somebody that can protect the rim. But Anthony Davis, in my opinion, I'm right along there with you, Derek Cole. He is not the answer. He's another injury-prone player. I think we need to go young and try. It's hard to find a five in the NBA these days. But, hey, somebody's going to have to go and find somebody that could be able to do it and be the five that they need and be the rim protector, because I think that's what they're missing. I think that we've seen since Trey, even when he was injured and since now that he's moved on, I think we've gone to a more of a heavier defensive approach, which I like, because I will say this much. I like, as much as I like Trey, he was very much so a defensive liability in my opinion. But now with some of the players that we have, I think they're very, very good at defending, and I think we'll see Quinn push for them to be a little tighter on the defensive side. It's funny you should say that about Jalen, is because I think that Jalen can be the star that we want him to be. But once again, Derek Cole, there needs to be some help. And Jalen is still young in his career. I think Jalen can ascend to be a top star in this league. I mean, he has all the potential. He has all the upside. He has all the athleticism. I think this dude defensively, man, he can guard 1 through 5 on the floor. I've seen him do it. We saw him get that stretch of triple doubles. I think it was like in the month of December. So I think that, Jalen can be that guy if we get the help in. But like you said, you got to trust the brain trust to be able to do the things that they need to do to get this organization where it needs to be. So time will tell. You're going to have the money. It ain't going to be a thing well, we don't have the money. No, you're going to have the money, and you'll have draft capital to move and trade as you so see fit to be able to bring the pieces in. Now, can you do it? That's going to be the question. And hopefully we can see it. I mean, like I said, the Hawks is my team. I'm going to stick with them, but we want to see them try to get this thing together, man, with that organization. God knows I want to see them do well and be a contender in the East. All right, Derek Cole, man. I guess that's enough about the Hawks, unless you want to talk a little bit more about the identity and what you feel like they're moving forward post-Trey.
I don't know, because they still got Quinn Snyder as the coach. So, yeah, no. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. I heard you say something about the injuries of Trey. Let's not be fooled by not saying that Jalen ain't been healthy every year.
No, he hasn't. He missed the whole year.
Yeah, he ain't been healthy since he's been here. So that's another thing that we got to look at when we're talking about crowning somebody. Hell, I don't even think Jalen is in the top 10 of NBA All-Star balloting right now, which is to let you know everything about how the folks in the media feel about the Atlanta people.
Hey, we I don't even want to get into the NBA and that whole All-Star. You get guys and that's a whole nother topic of conversation that we have to come back and revisit. But the NBA All-Star balloting and the NBA All-Star game altogether is basically a bit popularity contest. We know that. But we'll see how that all works out, man. It's coming up here pretty soon. I think the All-Star break will be here in a few weeks, coming up in February, man. So, look, we halfway through this thing, man, for the NBA, man. So we'll see if the Hawks can break and get somewhere. I'm shooting for another play-in round, probably, possibly. I don't know, but we'll see, man. We'll see how this thing starts. So I think as we record this podcast, I think they take on the Lakers tonight, if I'm not mistaken. The old man River out there with the with LeBron. Before we move on, Derek, they just gave, I don't know if you saw this or not, man, but now I guess because he's like the longest tenured old man in the NBA, man, they gave LeBron James like a special patch that he now wears to signify being like the oldest grandpa in the NBA, man. If they commenced they got smashed last night by, I think, Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so yeah, Hawks versus Lakers tonight on the West Coast wing, man. I think they just beat Golden State on Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. So now they take on the Lakers tonight. So that's what's up with the Hawks, people. We said we are gonna bring y'all some Hawks talk, man. There it is. So now let's get into this Falcons talk, Derek Cole, man. Let's do it, man. Obviously on the last podcast, talked a lot about the moving pieces that was going on. Obviously, Raheem Terry no longer a part of this organization. Now we're moving forward. But the biggest news that we have that was actually announced on last week, I want to say it was on last Friday, if I'm not mistaken, that Matt Ryan is now the president of football, not president of football operations, president of football. It's a big difference of the Atlanta Falcons. Derek Cole, we've talked about this a little bit off air, man, but I want to get your formal thoughts on the podcast as to how you feel about this hire.
Since you made the distinction, there's two different titles floating around in the media. So I guess we're going to really have to look at the Atlanta Falcons website to really know if it's the president of football or is it the president of football and operations, because I've seen different headlines about it. So I want to make sure that we get that straight. But as far as how I feel about it, I was just trying to sit there and finish up the press conference because some of us have to work during the day, so I missed that 11 o'clock, press conference. So I was trying to catch up and see what Matt was saying. And one thing I can say that's refreshing is I think we're going to get somebody with a high football IQ and not somebody that grew up in sports management or doing analytics and trying to determine who can be this and who can be that. He understands the game of football. And I think the best thing that probably happened with Matt is going on CBS and being around other people with other ideas and probably say some things about this organization that he probably need to hear to try to fix. So I think that's going to be refreshing. The only knock that I'm going to give, because I got to get some praise and I got to get some constructive criticism, is I don't know how much the relationship that he has with Arthur Blank is going to be a hindrance, because just looking at the press conference, you can see Arthur Blank already talking about his family because he knows his family. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that I'm personally going to have an issue with, is how Arthur Blank sometimes get too close to things, and then that's how things get messed up. So I don't want that to happen. If that happens, we're going to be back to square one again.
I mean, I think there are some distinctions in titles, going back to what you said. I think Greg Beatles more of the operational side of things, and I think that Matt Ryan will be a grass guy, meaning that, basically what the on the field product is going to look like. I mean, Derek Cole, I think we joke kind of tongue in cheek about the roof being open. I think there was a podcast that Matt Ryan was on talking about why wasn't the roof open during a certain game. I think Matt Ryan will have some input in some of that stuff going on. So if anything that's going on the grass, from personnel to game day play or whatever the case may be, is going to go through Matt Ryan. let me start off by saying this when I talk about this Matt Ryan hire, man. I could not be more happy about somebody like Matt Ryan coming back to this organization. And the reason I say that is because yes, we do work, and I was able to listen to some portions of the press conference today. But one of the biggest things, besides Derek, obviously Matt Ryan having a great football IQ, we know that he was one of the greatest players to ever play for this franchise, 14 years, and he's probably one of the, when it comes down to X's and O's and executing as a quarterback, man, I think that you could put him on an elite level on that chart as far as being able to diagnose things and see things. And as some people would say, quote unquote, be an elite processor. I think he was one of the best at what he did. Now, obviously, yes, there are some hangups that the people are going to always attach to him. That's neither here nor there. This man knows Atlanta. One of the things he said in his press conference is this is home. Before he got to Atlanta, he had only been here 2 times. That was once on a visit to Georgia Tech before he entered college, and then once again to come down and play Georgia Tech when he was playing at Boston College. And then he got drafted here in 2008 to Atlanta and immediately embraced Atlanta as his home, man, and immediately put the city on his back. He put the franchise on his back. Derek Cole, we talk about this. We look at some of the athletes that come through this city, and we just talked about Trey and how he embraced the city and put the city on his back. Let me tell you something, man. Matt Ryan literally put this city on his back. He did. I mean, it just wasn't in words. It was the way that he played the game. He played with a passion for this city, for that team, for that logo. I don't care what you say. I know this is going to sound like me just, having a fest over Matt Ryan, but I challenge anybody to tell me that this man didn't. This man went out. We talked about this, Derek Cole, man. The man didn't miss many games for the Falcons. The man's winning percentage for this team was pretty damn good. And like I said, man, you knew that when Matt Ryan was playing quarterback for this organization, that we were always in a fight to win. So that's why I'm so happy and I'm so impressed that he's back in this role, because he can take some of that fire he had and that passion he had for this city and for this team and put it into trying to turn this organization over to win a championship in that role and in that capacity. So I couldn't be more happy. I'm sorry if I started to cry a little bit, but that's my quarterback.
I'm gonna hit that. No, he's no longer your quarterback. Now he's the man.
Man, that's gonna be my quarterback, man.
Now he's the man. Now he's the man that's gonna be in charge of shaping your football team. So that's where we're going to cut the distinction off right now. We're not talking about the quarterback, Matt Ryan. We're talking about the president of football, Matt Ryan, because that's the person that we need to be the person that's going to reshape this football team, this organization. I heard a little nuggets into that he said. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it again because he might have said some things. And I said, ooh, that was a little shot. And I think I like it. You know what I'm saying? I think I like what he just said and how he said it. So I think learning from, I can be a conspiracy theorist sometimes. So I was like, well, I ain't seen Matt around the organization this long, this many times in a long time last year. When he was out there at camp, when he was out there doing a little player thing, I said, boy, Arthur Blank done sent Matt around here to be a spy. Get all the juicy stuff to understand, oh, well, this is what I want you to do because this is what we're thinking about. So I need to just go over there and just infiltrate and just walk around and get everything, soak it all in, and then you come back and report to me. That's just me being a conspiracy theorist and doing something left field. So don't take me seriously about that. But it could happen.
No, you're right. It possibly could, man. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that Matt was very thorough in his assessment, man. Knowing him, I don't know him personally, obviously, but just listening to him talk, he seems to be a very, very thorough and very, very prepared person. And it looks like he can evaluate things. He's good at evaluating things. Obviously, as a quarterback, you have to be able to evaluate on the field. I know, obviously, Derek Cole, yes, we're talking about this role now in the front office, but some of the attributes he had as a quarterback and as a competitor will help him, I think, along as he takes on this role as president, man. So I have no doubt, Derek Cole, like you just said, man, that, he made some assessments and probably talked to, Arthur and some of the people in the organization. It's like, hey, you know what, this is good, this is bad. And knowing Matt Ryan, he probably said, well, you know what, hey, man, Y'all need to look at this right here because it ain't it. Or in a roundabout way saying, hey man, we could definitely use some improvement or whatever here, man. So I think that in that regard, man, yes, and maybe without even knowing that's what he was doing, you know what I'm saying, covertly. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling and the idea rolling with Arthur Blank to say, hey man, you know what I'm saying, we could put this in place. And if I could be a conspiracy theorist for just one moment, a lot of people are saying, and this could be true, and I'm not for sure, that I guess upon Matt Ryan's exit, there was a little bad blood, I should say. We're not gonna go into details about what happened and how he ended up with the Colts. But I can say this much. It has been brought to my attention that maybe this was a way for Arthur Blank to kind of say, hey, you know what? I mean, even though Matt came out being the guy that he is, signed a one-day contract to retire as a Falcon, we put him in the ring of honor, but maybe this was just one more thing that Arthur Blank said, hey, we respect you. We really do appreciate you, and we really want you to be a part of this organization and help this organization ascend and be one of the top teams in the NFL, right? So, I can't speak more about this hiring, man. I really can't. I mean, this is, I think, going to be great for the organization. Great. So now listen, before we start talking about, this coaching and this GM search, there are going to be some fans that we're not going to make happy. I do understand that, Derrico. And there's a lot of people already saying that, if you didn't, okay, let me say this much, and I'll let you talk a little bit, Derrico, and then we'll start talking about this coaching search. If you didn't like Matt Ryan as a quarterback, man, that's on you. Okay. I can't make you like this man. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't make you like him as a quarterback, man. But we don't know what this man is going to, just like we didn't know what he was going to do in 2008 when he walked into the facility. We don't know what this man is going to do as the president here. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I just know what this man is built like. We're going to have to see where he takes his team in this position. But for all those people that didn't like him as a quarterback and think that he's going to fail or do wrong at this president position, that's on you. That's on you. You got to let this man do his job, and we got to see this through. Obviously, he's here. We got to see this through, man. So all this negative stuff about him and as a quarterback or whatever, because half y'all don't know this man personally. So all y'all doing is taking shots at him from what y'all, in y'all mind, don't think he deserves. It is what it is. I guess, Derrico, you don't have nothing to say. Yeah, hey, all right. It's on y'all. So if y'all hating on Matt Ryan at this point, man, it's on y'all, man. Y'all need to do something else with y'all life. So listen, all right, let's get into it then, Derrico. Let's talk about this coaching search, man, and let's talk about what everybody want to hear. Like, and I go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's gonna be the judge and the jury right there. Just like Thomas Dimitroff's, if I'm not mistaken, first draft, his first pick was Matt Ryan, if I'm not mistaken. That's the kind of home run that he's going to have to make with the GM and the coach. I'm sorry. It can't be nothing less. And it can't be, ooh, who is that? Ooh, why you chose that person? That's what I'm saying. It's going to be unbelievably hard for him not to make the right decision, because like you said, you already got the fickle fans that feel some type of way for him. So they're locked and loaded, ready, coming guns blazing, waiting on him to slip up. And so he can't slip up on them first two choices of his tenure as the president of football. And that's what I've been seeing on the Falcon website. So if the Falcon website is saying that, then it ain't no of operations.
Yeah, president of football, man, on the grass type stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? And everything will go through him and flow through him as far as, coaching, GM, player personnel, all that stuff. Matt Ryan will be that, I guess, that wedge between the stuff on the grass and off the blank. And there was a lot of talk today. I'm not going to go too far off into the press conference. A lot of talk. And I think that they've already built this relationship, Matt Ryan was saying, with Arthur's permission. And I think there was a lot of confusion. I was listening to a little radio on the way home that a lot of people didn't know how to kind of interpret that in saying that, does he need to get Arthur's permission or does he already have Arthur's permission? And the way I kind of interpret it is that I think he's had these conversations with Arthur Blank, and Arthur Blank has given him permission and full throttle to say, here are the keys. This is what is expected, and this is and this is what you're going to do. I don't think this is going to be one of those micromanaging situations. I think that Arthur Blank, knowing this man for over 14, 15 years, is very comfortable in what he's capable of doing. So I don't think there's going to be any kind of micromanaging situation when it comes to that there.
This is what I'm going to say. Because I know people, I see people, I look at people. Arthur Blank is not the type of person that can just sit there and not say something. If you notice in the press conference, he interrupted from the parts I've seen already 3 times during the first 15, 20 minutes of the conversation. So that's all I'm saying is he may say that, but remember, this is your baby. And you don't like people messing up your baby. So you may have to say something when you think that you shouldn't have to say something. And I don't think Arthur Blank is going to be like that. And I don't think Matt is going to be like that in his first year. You know what I'm saying? I just can't see his demeanor being, hey, I ain't going to double check. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to double check, even though he know he has keys to the car, because he kind of already said that as far as final decisions, it was like a hesitant answer, because he didn't want to say, yeah, it falls on me. Because, sound bites are everything in the media. So if anything was to happen, then they'll go back and say, well, Matt, they said that the buck stopped with you on everything. So it's all your fault. It ain't the coach's fault. It ain't the GM fault, because you chose them. So you ultimately made that decision. So it's going to be your fault. So I understand.
Well, Derico, we know that there's a collective when it comes to anything, man. There, a lot of times, yes, we as a society want to push the blame on somebody, right? At the end of the day, somebody has to take the blame. And since Arthur Blank has owned this organization, he has fallen on that sword numerous times, because at the end of the day, it's all going to come back to Arthur Blank, right? But this is still a collective. This is a collective, Derico. One can't do without the other. You have to have a GM. You have to have a coach. Obviously, this new position was needed. Like I said, Arthur Blank said there was a diagnosis ran on this organization, and they felt like, yeah, it's big words, yeah, that was needed within this organization from a communication perspective, and somebody just needed to have eyes on things that he just felt like the GM and the coaches could not all do. So he needed somebody there to kind of to be in that role. But anyway, look, we're going too far off into the weeds. Let's talk about these coaching candidates, and let's bring it to the elephant in the room that everybody want to hear us talk about anyway. We've interviewed several coaches, but let's talk about who everybody want to talk about, Derico, and that's Harbaugh, right? Obviously, when we talked on the last podcast that Jim Harbaugh was let go by the Baltimore Ravens, and he was going to be on the hot sheet of every team that was looking for a head coach. Obviously, we knew that the cards he was holding all the cards when it comes to this, because 18-year tenure coach, 63 years old, he still has a lot left in the tank. Obviously, a proven winner, Super Bowl champion. He comes, brother, the list goes on and on. His resume is and for all the people that are up, all the candidates we've interviewed, his resume and his track record is pushing everybody by far. Most of the people I think we've interviewed have been will be first time head coaches, aside for a couple, and we'll talk about those guys in a minute. But there was a lot of quotes, and I've been doing a lot of reading as to who would be the front runner to get Jim in here. And it seems to be there's a consensus that the Falcons organization is one of the top teams that could possibly land him. And the rumor has it's going to probably come down to the Giants and the Falcons as the two potential landing spots for Harbaugh. And I really, and I'm not being biased, I can see that. I can see that the two teams, I mean, obviously when you look at the things that they have, what you want with a franchise is, both teams have quarterbacks that could possibly be franchise quarterbacks for quite some time. The markets are pretty. I mean, New York is a fickle market, but New York has everything to give Jim that what he wants as far as staffing and the things that he wants and his control. The Falcons do as well. The Falcons can give him everything he wants as well. So, Derico, man. So I guess the big question is, are the Falcons in good position to try to land Jim Harbaugh if this is their guy?
I mean, yeah. However, I mean, it's still the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just saying. It's not like it's a pristine organization that people really want to hitch their wagon to especially people that have, I guess you could say, like you said, 18-year, 19-year head coaching experience at one organization. You know what I'm saying? It depends on how egotistical that person is, how driven that person is to really show how good of a coach they are, that they can say, I can come in here and turn this thing around and get it straight. So, but with that being said, yes, Harbaugh number one on my list. You said that he has his pick of the litter. Yes, he does. And looking at the other organizations, and I'm just being honest, I mean, the top two organizations right now that I would, if I'm in a coaching situation that I would have to choose between, it would be between the Giants and the Falcons. But now with the late news of the Pittsburgh Steelers opening, but I know he's not going to go over there probably more than likely because, that's a division rival. So if it was not him, then Pittsburgh would be the number one choice, you know what I'm saying, for any other head coach. Then I would say the Giants, and then I would say the Atlanta Falcons, then everybody else. That's how I would look at it. So right now, with Tomlin, taking a bow, right now, we in the third order of pecking for the coaches. And that probably will land us a first-time head coach again. Unfortunately.
I mean, I disagree with you on some points of that, Derek Cole. So the Pittsburgh job, yes, it just came open today. Mike Tomlin stepping down as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are an organization that are very, very particular about who they hire head coach. We just talked about this, Derek Cole, man. They've had 3 coaches over like the last 50 years, which is insane. There's no organization in professional sports that has done that. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. I want to say it was when we looked at it.
You didn't do math too well in school.
Was it 60? Well, man, dude. So
69.
69 years.
Yeah.
69 years. 69. Okay. My apologies. 69 years. Since 1969, they've had 3 coaches since 1969. So that's
how old I am.
That's 56 years.
Yeah, and I was born
56 years. Yeah. Now my math is good with basic arithmetic. So 56 years, and 56 years of that of this team, they've only had 3 coaches. That was Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin. I think they have done an excellent job. That organization up there is a top-notch organization. It's one of the top in the NFL. Probably, I would say the top. I mean, people will argue with me. Obviously, they're fanboys of their teams or whatever, but I say it's a very well-ran organization. So I think they're going to be I say all that to say that they're going to be very particular in picking the new head coach for Pittsburgh. Could Harbaugh, yeah, will he be attractive? But obviously, yes, for different reasons, because it's a division rival, different things of that nature. How would that go over with the fan? We've seen coaches do this, but you just never know. But here's the thing about Pittsburgh, and I'm going to move on, is that I think that there are some question marks when it comes to Pittsburgh. Obviously, bank, lights out defense, obviously the blue collar mentality, the fan base, everything that you want is there. There's still going to be some question marks around the quarterback position at Pittsburgh. We know that you have to get that right. You just said the Giants and the Falcons potentially have franchise quarterbacks here that'll take you along the way. That situation in Pittsburgh, you're not going to be top. You're not going to be on the top half of the draft. Because this is not a quarterback heavy draft, I think, in my opinion, this year. But you're going to have to get that franchise quarterback thing right up there in Pittsburgh. We've seen them kind of turn over quarterbacks since Roethlisberger has left. And so they've kind of been in turmoil at that position too. So that's one of the things that I think that might be a mark on Pittsburgh, is not having that position set. Other than that, it's a top tier organization. And you're right. It'll be like, at least top 3 in the pecking order for these new coaching positions. And I'm on board with you, Derek Cole, that I feel like the Falcons can offer Harbaugh anything and everything that he wants. It's just about the relationship that he wants to have. Obviously, Matt Ryan is going to be big on that. And obviously, Arthur Blank is going to be big on that as well. I think that, they've spoken to him, and I think that they have a good line on where they are in the talks. And he has to do his due diligence, obviously, to talk to these other organizations, because who wouldn't, right? I mean, if somebody say, hey, I'm going to pay you this much, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, you got to at this point. I mean, you like you said, Derek, if somebody say we'll pay you 20 and somebody else say I'm going to pay you 26, I mean, Hey, man, money talk, man. So obviously he's going to do his due diligence. His agent is going to be in his ear as well because, yes, coaches do have agents as well. And they're going to probably make a final decision, obviously, after they go through talking to all of these organizations. I'm assuming that he's going to talk to all the organizations with with openings. We might not. Somebody might lock him in a room and say, you can't go. Sign the paper. I mean, obviously, he was in town in New York for whatever reason with the Giants that I heard either yesterday or today. So who knows, man? We'll see here in a minute. But obviously, Harbaugh would be, number one on my list. So let's talk about a couple of other coaches, man, before we close this thing out, and also talk a little bit about the GM position as well. Slow me down if I'm moving a little too fast there, Cole. Let me know. Obviously, the Falcons have interviewed several head coaching candidates, and I'm gonna just go over a couple of them that I think, in my opinion, are gaining some traction as far as that we can actually see them on the sideline. Obviously, I'm gonna rule out Mike Tomlin because I think that he actually stepped down, and I think that he's going to take a break from coaching. Great coach career up there with the Steelers, 18 years. I can see him doing some analyst stuff, man. I think he has an edge to him that could put him, with one of the, with either Fox or CBS doing some analyst stuff, man. That would be pretty cool to see Mike Tomlin do that. So now we start talking about the guys that are left available. The one person, well, there are actually two coaching options that do have head coaching experience. That's going to be Kevin Stefanski and that's going to be Mike McDaniel. So Derek, let's talk about these two guys. And I'm gonna give you my yay and nay on these two guys before I hand it over to you. Mike McDaniel, I can absolutely see him being the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The reason is just the familiarity. There I go with a big word again, trying to get it out, with the franchise. He was here. He was here with Matt, with the quarterback here several years ago. I think he's a great offensive mind. Didn't really follow him too much in Miami, so I don't know where the disconnect went and how they kind of went straight down there. Obviously, he was a first-time head coach, young guy. But a lot of times we see guys tend to learn from, their first-time experiences as head coaches. And like I said, just with him being familiar with the organization, I could see him possibly moving into the head coaching role here in Atlanta. I could see that. Kevin Stefanski, previous head coaching, not as much. I'm not taking anything away that he's done, but just him coming from a dysfunctional organization, how much does the Falcons want to kind of deal with that? Because there was a lot of dysfunction around him in Cleveland in the whole quarterback situation that was going on up there this year. Obviously, he was let go. He does have, head coaching experience, but I think that the dysfunction of where he just came from will kind of deter the Falcons' decision, unless it came down to just like, you the last man standing. And I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think that this is a very good organization, and I think they have that outside of Harbaugh, they have other people and other options that would be glad to come into this organization, and they would rank them above Stefanski. So with those two guys, McDaniel, that do have previous head coaching experience, where do you see them at possibly winning this head coaching position here?
I don't want neither one of them. And the reason why, I'm gonna give you two reasons why for both of them. It may just be one. For Mike McDaniels, I don't want nobody that's been a part of this organization on this football staff. Nobody. Especially anybody that was on that Super Bowl 2016 coaching staff. Don't want nobody. There's just some bad juju going on. That's why I was hesitant in having Coach Raw come back. And that's proven right. Everybody want to hang on to Aubrey. No, want him gone too because of the same situation. Mike McDaniel, I just don't see him as as the type of leader that we need. We need somebody that's going to be a little tougher. I mean, he'll be Raw 2.0 as far as his demeanor, as far as handling the players. As far as that dude from Cleveland, the whole circus surrounding how he handled the last two seasons of that organization. He may say it was the organization, but you are the football coach and you made football decisions that look like you are a messy person. You are a petty person. You are a conniving person. You are a person that has an ego who don't want to let it go. So I don't think we need a drama queen as our head coach.
I mean, I'm not taking up for the guy, but it is Cleveland. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it is Cleveland. So, there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot to kind of, I guess, decipher with all the mess that is the Cleveland Browns organization up there and what was going on. I think he was just like a blip of all of the mess, that was going on, and it started a while back, and it started to tumble and roll. So he's out, and I'm, like I said, I'm okay with McDaniels. Obviously, your points are solid about just washing yourselves of of that staff that was here. It seems like eons ago, but it wasn't, maybe 8-9 years ago, and not wanting to see anybody back. Obviously, yeah, it went sour with Ra. But like I said, somebody that I can see being with the organization, I can see McDaniels being here. But your points are valid by trying to just wash yourselves of that whole, I guess, stench or whatever of that coaching staff, of that regime. All right, so one last coach before we end this thing, man, to talk about. Obviously, they interviewed a couple of other guys, but maybe we'll get back around. I don't think, no shade to him. I just don't think. I just really don't think that the other guys, before I mention this guy's name, are going to ascend to the top of the list. But the last person I want to talk about, obviously, Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. And this name, as soon as people saw him on the radar, before we knew that Jim Harbaugh was leaving the Ravens organization, this was the guy top of the list. Like, hey, we have to go out and get him. Obviously, man, if you are long in the tooth like me and Derico are, this guy comes from a great lineage. His father was a head coach in the NFL and also was a quarterback in the NFL. Talking about Greg. Yeah, some of you young cats gonna have to go and Google Greg Kubiak, one of a very brilliant offensive mind as well, and his son has become a brilliant offensive mind in his own right as well with the Seattle Seahawks. I think he was previously with the Aints, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember the other team he was with. It may have been the Vikings, I want to say, but I'm not for sure. But this guy's another brilliant offensive mind. Obviously, we tried to go defense. I don't know what we did with Ra, actually, but we had Arthur Smith before Ra, he couldn't get it together for whatever reason. But now, looking at another brilliant offensive-minded coach, I think this would be one of the guys that would be on right now as it stands, top two, like to go get, man. From an offensive perspective, man, I think he will be probably the play caller here. Young guy, very, very sharp. I've listened to him talk a couple of times, man. I like the kid. How do you feel on Kubiak? I know you was kind of high on him, Derico.
I would talk about him, but there's no need to talk about him now because Pittsburgh job is open. He's a perfect fit for what Pittsburgh generally likes to do. Go out and get a young, hot coordinator that can withstand the test of time. And with that last name, know that there's some longevity there. So he would have been up there right behind Harbaugh. But now that Pittsburgh, I'm just taking him completely off the radar at this point because he will not pass up taking Pittsburgh over the Falcons.
I mean, well, obviously you make that comparison, but I mean, you just never know. I mean, and let's be real, the Baltimore Ravens job is open as well. I mean, if you want to throw stones at the Ravens, I mean, they have a decent organization. I mean, obviously, yes, people are talking about the situation that they're going to have with Lamar there and some other things that's going on with the organization. But the Ravens, let's not forget, the Ravens is open.
You made a good point because I forgot about that, and it's already some tampering going on with the quarterback from Baltimore, talking about he would love to have that dude over there as his coach. So yeah. So those two teams, that's why I said I absolutely will take Clint off the chessboard. When he used to further discussing him coming to Atlanta.
Hey man, no, if you're gonna shoot your shot, you gotta shoot your shot. You gotta go all in. I mean, if you feel like you just gonna
shot.
Well, I mean, dude, we don't know. We just don't know. We have to wait. It's still a wait and see game, man. I still give us a very good chance of landing a guy like Kubiak. I mean, you can say zero all you want to, Derico, man, but I still think that there's a great opportunity.
With Raheem Morris. Let's be honest. Let's be real about it.
So we just had this conversation about who's the president of football now.
No, I'm just saying.
Conversation.
It ain't got nothing to do with the president of the operation. It got nothing to do with the owner. It got to do with people saying, I'd rather go there than there. Everybody want to say, well, we missed. We chose the wrong. How you know we chose the wrong person? How you know that was all that was left?
You're absolutely right. I agree with you there. We'll never know the whole story, obviously, but you got to look at that coaching cycle and who we brought in. I mean, I think, and I don't want to go too far off into this, man, because we're going to have to wrap this up. But at the time, did we really think Vrabel was coming to Atlanta? Obviously, no. I think he was waiting in Tennessee, knowing that Jerry Mayo was going to get fired at any moment. And was like, that's my job. Did you really think John Harbaugh was coming to Atlanta? He interviewed here, but I think he was using all the leverage he could to figure out the best landing spot for him. I don't think that they looked at this organization and was like, nah, we'd rather go other. Well, in Vrabel's case, yes, he wanted to go to the organization that he played for. Kubiak has no affiliation with any other organization. If you want to say maybe some of the, I think I know his dad coached for the Texans. Obviously, that head coaching position is not going to be up. And his dad played quarterback behind Elway in Denver. We know that coaching job isn't going to be up. So he doesn't have any other affiliations to any organizations. All those other organizations that you just talked about, i.e. Ravens and Steelers, possibly sexier than the Falcons, maybe, but we still have to wait and see. I mean, we just still have to wait and see how that all pans out. But, you know, I will put him on the short list of somebody to really go after. Like I said, if you lose him to the Steelers or Ravens, so be it. I mean, Harbaugh still, you know, one on your list. See what you could do with that. And then we'll go from there. Obviously, Derek, I wanted to get into some of the personnel perspectives that we have to address, and we'll have to put a pin in that, and we'll have to come back around to talk about some of these personnel issues that we're going to have to definitely address moving into the offseason. Even before we know who the head coach is going to be and the GM is going to be, we know that there are some pressing issues on the roster, some big holes that we're going to have to fill. So on the next podcast, before we start talking about any news or information about the coaching hire or GM hire, we definitely need to talk about some of the player personnel decisions that they're going to have to make when they come in here, Derrico, man. So look, we're at the top of the mark, Derrico. Obviously, there was a lot to talk about tonight, and we missed our boy Banks. Obviously, man, he I thought that maybe he was going to show up, but I guess he was true this time to say, look, I ain't dealing with y'all tonight.
Probably.
So shout out to our boy Banks, man. Hopefully he'll be back with us on next week, man, to talk a little bit more of Atlanta sports. Derrico, let everybody out there know where they can find you at, my brother.
Hey, y'all can find me, well, since tailgate season over with, I guess I can't talk about that. So I guess you just find me down here in the man cave. Or if you want me on socials, you can find me on Facebook at Stacey D. Derrico. You can find me on IG, Derrico_Virgo. You can find me on Snapchat, DJ K-Rose6. I'm off TikTok and I'm off X. So that's it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to, he off TikTok and X, people. He's off. So y'all got to catch him where y'all can catch him, man. You catch us on all media platforms, all social media platforms. That's ATL 3-Style. Catch us ATL 3-Style podcast on all social media platforms. That's if you're still on Facebook. That's if you're on the X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. Also, you can find us over there on the Instagram, man. Also, before we close out, man, shout out to our boy over there at Eastland's Woodworking Company, man. Hit that QR code up if you want some stuff from him. Obviously, on the next podcast, I'll feature. If you Divine 9, if you're Greek, man, I got some stuff to show y'all, man, that'll really kind of blow y'all mind if y'all want to get some stuff from our boy, man, because he does some really, really good work, man. Also, shout out to our boy Banks. Like I said, hopefully he'll be here on the next show to talk a little bit more about the Atlanta Falcons and also some of the Atlanta sports. So who knows, man? Hawks will go on a run before we come back on this next episode, Derrico. We'll have a lot to talk about that with the Trae Youngless Hawks now as they move into the new era in Hawks basketball, man. This has been another edition of the ATL 3-Style podcast. We out.